Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video. An interesting kind of breaking news-ish around Flynn Downes. We know we've been expecting him to leave the club for a while, and now it's kind of being confirmed that it's going to go ahead. Dharmesh tweeting this afternoon that Southampton have now agreed a deal for a permanent signing for Flynn Downes, and he's been given permission, to have a medical. He was with the West Ham squad for their preseason training camp in Austria, but he's now going to be going back to do the medical. And he also confirmed that the fee is understood to be worth around £18 million for the permanent transfer. So a few things to discuss here. A, why are we getting rid of Flynn Downes? And B, is £18 million good value for someone that Russell Martin alluded to as someone he could not afford to not have in his squad next season for Southampton in the Premier League? So first things first, Flynn Downes' career at West Ham so far has been intriguing. He was obviously brought in to be kind of back up and play second fiddle, if you want to say it like that, to Declan Rice. And, as we were brought in, we had Europa Conference League. And I think he performed really, really strongly in those first few opening games when he did feature in Europe. And I think, under David Moyes, he really didn't get a fair crack at the whip in terms of the position he was playing. A lot of the times in the Premier League, he was either being brought on to play kind of as the advanced 10. He was brought on to play, he played right mid. He played kind of everywhere other than that natural six position, unless it was in Europe, because in Europe, we tended to play a back five and we used to play a double pivot. And it was usually Downs and Lanzini who was playing in there, or Downs and Soucek. So he did get a lot more recognition for the performances that he put in during those times, because he was A, playing in his natural position, and B, his performances were fantastic, albeit against, some lesser opposition than it is in the Premier League, to be honest. But, his performances were really strong. And I think he gave us something in midfield that we did not have a lot of the time when we had a midfield of Rice and Soucek double pivot, and that was just protection on the ball. It was a completely different profile of player to someone like Thomas Soucek. And to be honest, I think the struggles we had in that season were kind of around Declan Rice and his own personal achievements and personal ambition to drive forwards more and be more as the number 8 at West Ham. That, to be honest, I don't think suited him the best. I think his number 6 was the best natural position for Declan Rice, but it also had a knock-on effect with Thomas Soucek, because Soucek was often the one sitting. Rice was the one driving up and down that left centre mid role, which negated a lot of the Thomas Soucek impact that we had before that. And then people were saying, well, Soucek's performance have dipped, but also Rice's as well. But that kind of worked in tandem with what we're talking about with Flynn Downes, because I thought when he came in terms of retaining possession of the ball, it's one of Flynn Downes' best traits, keeping it neat and tidy, fantastic on the ball in terms of, keeping possession and recycling the ball sideways, backwards, just being that neat and tidy player. And also he had the aggression and physicality to be the number 6. I have no doubt that he'll go to Southampton now and be a really good anchor for them in the Premier League. I think there's limitations to Flynn Downes' game, which is what we're going to get onto in a second. But in terms of his overall contribution to West Ham, it was just under. It just didn't get the opportunity. It was a difficult predicament for him to come in when he did. And obviously, as we progressed in Europe and got to the later stages of the Conference League, he was subsequently dropped out of there when we started to play our quote unquote stronger team. And that midfield instantly became back to Rice and Soucek. So I think for Flynn Downes, £18 million, is that good value? Yes or no? For me, it's on the cusp of yes and no, as kind of on the fence that is. In terms of looking at it from a monetary value, we've managed to get £18 million for an asset we don't use and weren't planning or intending on using. And it's £18 million we can use to fund the squad. You look at the likes of Yusuf Fofana, you look at the likes of a Thuram, a Kone, these players that might not be available now on the market, but they were rumored to be between kind of 20 to 30 million euros. So, that is a large portion of that fee straight into that midfield position. And, someone like O'Reilly from Celtic, who's probably going to cost around 25, 30 million pounds, 18 million pounds of that is a massive chunk for someone that we weren't using really. It's not like we've lost Flynn Downes, who was integral to our season last year. He was on loan at Southampton. So for me, it's 18 million pounds gained. I think in terms of selling Flynn Downes now, this was the best time. This was always going to be the time where he was worth the most value, because his performances for Southampton were so good and they got promoted. And, Martin said himself that he has to have him in that squad next season. There is no yes or no. He has to have him. So in terms of having, holding a ransom over a football club, you don't really get a better card dealt to you than that. So I think from that perspective, I'm a little bit underwhelmed about the 18 million pounds, because I think we easily could have got between 20 to 25 million for Flynn Downs if we really wanted to, because of how much Southampton wanted him. That's pretty much the main reason why we've been able to kind of play our cards like we have and not really rush on Flynn Downs. But this video is sponsored by Emotive. Emotive provide cutting-edge digital services, solutions, and training to companies and businesses of all sizes. Emotive have worked with some fantastic brands in the past, as you can see behind me, the likes of Apple, Google, Tesco, and of course, Babbling Irons. Emotive offer 4 key services, the first being digital solutions, the second being professional training and coaching, the third being fractional experts, and the fourth being AI readiness. We're going to be working with Emotive on our channel to improve how we showcase the data to you guys in our breakdown videos and data analysis videos. If you want to find out more information about how Emotive can work with you, make sure to scan the QR code now, which will take you to emotivetouch.com, where you can find out more details about the company, and the link will be in the description. A massive thank you to Emotive once again for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. I'm a little frustrated it's only 18 million. Obviously, there could be, bonuses and add-ons in this clause. It hasn't really been confirmed from Dharmesh yet. It just said 18 million pounds as the fee. So it could go up, but I think it's likely to be structured around 18 million pounds. But even that is a little bit underwhelming. But in terms of what it means for Flynn Downs moving forwards, he's now got he's going to go and play regular Premier League football, which is exactly what he wants and, to be honest, deserves for his performances last season for Southampton. He was definitely one of the best midfielders in the Championship last year, no question about that. But again, we've said there's limitations to Flynn Downs' game, and what West Ham need right now as a football club is not a Flynn Downs. We've got Alvarez to be sitting in there as the 6. Again, Flynn Downs could have been a nice handy backup to have in the squad to play in 6 when Alvarez is injured or suspended, probably the latter. But, that's not what Downs wants to do. He wants to be playing Premier League football regularly for someone like Southampton. So absolutely, it's the best move for all parties. But for what West Ham need, we don't need that 6. We need a number 8. We've spoken about it so many times on this channel about needing a ball-carrying midfield 8 to play in that position. And, Flynn Downs, he can carry the ball, but he's not that driving force. He's not someone that's going to be creative as an 8. He's a 6. That's exactly what his best position is. It's the same as Declan Rice. Play him at 6, let him do the neat and tidy stuff and sweep things up and have that aggression in interceptions and, keep the ball ticking over with safe but tidy passing. That isn't what Flynn Downs can't be that progressive number 8. That's just not his game. I'll be very, very surprised if he proves us wrong. Then fair play. But I'll be very surprised if he does that for Southampton. I think his main goal will be to sit in there and be the anchor like he was last season for Southampton under Russell Martin. So 18 million pounds. It's good investment back into the squad. It's for the first time in a long time that I can remember, obviously other than Declan Rice, we're actually making money on a signing. Obviously Rice wasn't a signing really, but like an actual proper signing that we're making money of. Think about the amount of signings we've had in recent history where the sell-on value we've had for them has gone absolutely down because of their A, poor performances, or B, because of how bad we are at selling players. Felipe Anderson is a prime example of that. Sebastian Haller's another one who we got a little bit more money for, but again, still sold for less than we bought him for. I'm assuming Agaird's going to be the same this season if he does get sold. So I think with Flynn Downs, it's actually a unique position for West Ham where we've actually been able to be, profitable on a player who hasn't really played much football for West Ham. That is kind of the ironic thing. We've managed to maximize his value by loan time, which again ties back into how we currently have the youth setup and the youth squad right now. If you give these players minutes and valuable minutes on loan at XYZ, it just improves their value as well. You have to look at football from a business perspective as well. It's not all about play this player here, he gets the game time, he deserves to stay in the squad. It's not really that linear. It's more, how can you maximize the value of your assets at a football club to the best of your ability? And that's exactly what we did with Flynn Downs when, we chose to loan him out to Southampton last season. We knew he weren't going to be played. David Moyes didn't really want to keep him around the squad just to be a bit, a by-part player. Flynn Downs didn't want to do that. And it's worked out for everyone. Flynn Downs has got his move. We've got our money, which is, again, a return on investment of what we paid for him. I think we paid like £10 million. So, almost a double the amount we paid for him, we're getting back. So from that perspective, it's a really positive move. It's a really positive change for how we're selling players. But to be honest, £18 million, I think we could have pushed more because of Southampton's stance on the whole situation. I think we could have easily got 20, 25 million for this transfer. But best of luck to Flynn Downs. Obviously, a West Ham boy, managed to lift a trophy with West Ham. I think that's more than any of us would ever, dream of doing. So, in that sense, he's already won with his time at West Ham. It's not really going to get much better for him, especially if he's not going to be a regular starter under Lopetegui going forward. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he does at Southampton. Best of luck to you, Flynn Downs. I think your attitude and application has been fantastic throughout your whole time at West Ham, and you deserve to be playing regular minutes in the Premier League. That's how it goes, and hopefully you don't perform too well against us in the reverse fixtures coming in the Premier League season. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments. What do you think about this move for Flynn Downs to Southampton? Are you happy with it? I know a lot of people online wanted to see Flynn Downs as part of the squad for Lopetegui and even in that starting 11. So is that something you would have done? Would you have sold Flynn Downs? Let me know. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are new around here. And until the next one, come on, you irons.